Hey, what's up everybody? This week on the basement build, we're going to work on something that's been driving me crazy ever since I put this door up. And that is what I call the Clothesliner 5000.
Train to the plastic underground. Approaching station. Please stand away from the platform edge.
Because of my height, every time I come through, this is the main support beam for my house, so I've always had to duck under this. But for whatever reason, because the door is here now, sometimes I forget to duck because I think I'm walking through a normal door. So already what I've done is I've painted this a flat black. I know you're thinking, hey, if that's black, you're gonna see it even less. And that is true. But I'm gonna put some caution stripes on it, give it that warning space look. And so I'm gonna do that with some vinyl, and we're gonna do that. And we're also gonna work on this door today. So we're finally gonna get this door to match the rest of the wall and not just be this flat white.
Alright, so to start out here, I'm just going to use some of this metallic dark metal spray paint that I use for lots of stuff. But I wanted this panel to be a nice, cool, like gunmetal sci-fi gray. So that is what I'm using to just spray this whole panel down. And eventually this panel will have to get some other like color and stuff on it. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get to it.
Alright, so first of all, on this door, so far, what I've done is I put this side panel on, and all this is some whiteboard material, just turned the other way so that the MDF back is facing out. And all that does is it gives me this recessed strip here so that the door can shut against it, and kind of hides the lip of the door. And I'm going to be putting some greebles on this door all the way down, typical like Star Wars style. And yeah, so the handle also was painted a metallic silvery like gunmetal color, and that's still going to get some work. These eventually are going to be lights, so that's something also that we're going to do on this door video. That's kind of my goal for this video, is to get this door completely done, and even like the remaining wall and stuff. And then yeah, so eventually, you guys already saw this pad wall here. I'm still missing the panel for the light switch for the shop, and that is something that will be coming eventually, but that's gonna have a lot of lights and switches and stuff in it. So let's focus on this door and get this door done.
So what I'm doing here is I'm just using some caulking, some like bathroom sink caulking, the same type of stuff I use on like helmets and ceiling foam and all that kind of stuff. What's the brand? Quickset bathroom caulking. This is clear, so it goes on white and it dries clear. Just using this here to fill in these seams. I could have used like drywall compound. I wanted to just use something quick, something that dries quick, so I could just paint this. What I ended up doing though is I put a glove on, and I ended up like smearing that all over all of that MDF board, so to seal it for painting. And it actually worked out really good because when I went through with this aluminum and a little bit of silver spray paint, it ended up making it a lot shinier. So that was kind of cool. That worked out pretty good. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just basically giving it a base coat of aluminum and then just kind of spritzing some silver in spots just to give it a little bit of extra definition. And then that's dry, I can go back through with my black paint here with my brush, and I can paint this whole door frame black. So yeah, this will also get some caution tape stripes, so just gotta paint this black first. And this is just a can of acrylic that I bought at Walmart like a long time ago for the steps and everything. So it dries quick, and it is a flat black, and it looks pretty good. And I like this paint for lots of stuff. So this is some yellow vinyl that I happen to have on hand. I have a pretty big roll of this stuff. And so I cut off strips. These are 2-inch strips. I tried like 1.5 inches at first. I just didn't like the way they looked. And I was going to even do like 1.5 inches on the side of the door. But I ended up doing 2-inch strips for the whole thing. And I really like the way it looks. So starting in this corner and just sticking that on at an angle. Basically just an angle that I picked. It probably ends up being close to a 45 or so, but yeah. So I line that up the edge of the door so that my other stripes will kind of look right, and they'll kind of match a little bit. So I just stick those on, and then I use a sharp X-Acto knife just to cut these flush to that beam. I also use the backing of the vinyl to mark where the next piece needs to go, so that every stripe is exactly 2 inch. This is a pretty quick way to do this, other than using a ruler and marking and that kind of stuff. So I can just trace this backer paper, and yeah, gives me a good spot for where the next piece of vinyl needs to go. So coming up here, you're going to see exactly why I need these stripes to be here and why I've been so sick of this door. Basically, in a couple seconds here, I go in to get the squeegee, my vinyl squeegee, and I bash my head, just like that stormtrooper. And you can see that's like my genuine reaction, like being irritated with the fact that I'm sick of this door. So yeah, I since that caution tape has been up, I have not once hit my head. So that it solved that issue. So I always use these foam mats here,
And the one thing that always bothers me is that, like, on each piece you get this end piece, so that if you actually install it on the floor, it'd be like flat all the way around, and smooth. And I always am ended up with like these chunks of foam that like can't really do a lot with unless you can, whatever you're doing, you're able to get like this much out of it, but that doesn't always come into play. But one thing that I have done with these is you make this little foam ruler. So I literally just use my actual ruler and marked all these spots on here. And so the reason you do this is for, like, if you're going to be using this thickness of foam and you want to make, like, well, say you're making like a gauntlet or a bracer, you use this foam ruler, and then it counters for the thickness of the foam, and it gives you a good measurement of what you're trying to measure. Because if you were to do it with like an actual like flat ruler for like fabrics and stuff, it's super thin and it would be off by ½ inch or so. So this is a good tool for that kind of stuff. And I was able to use this on the shelf to measure my curves of the shelf. I was able to get the good measurement since I was using this thickness foam for the pads. I was able to use this foam ruler and measure all my sizes for all my pads. But here's what I'm getting to. I want to do something on the door frame of my door, and yeah, so I came up with this. I came up with these guys here, and I think they're gonna look pretty cool, all stacked, all staggered, all the way down the door frame. They're gonna give that that Star Wars feel. But these are great because I have a ton of these, and after you slice these actual puzzle pieces off here, you can get quite a few of these out of each section of this stuff. So I'm able to use up this amount of foam and throw out very little, which is very good. And so, yeah, I just wanted to show you that.
Yeah, so basically, kind of like I was saying, you just slice those actual puzzle piece spots off, and I'm using a piece that I already cut as a length, and I'm just cutting 45 on each side of these, and then I'll go back through with my Dremel and just make sure these are smooth and flat and no like crazy like gouges or anything. So yeah, basically I cut a whole bunch of these. I ended up having like 3 left, so I cut just enough. So they are with a coat of Plasti Dip and a coat of that aluminum spray paint. That's what they look like. And now I can go ahead and start gluing these to the door frame. So basically what I do is the same way I kind of did those caution stripes. I'm using the actual door greeble thing, and I marked the thickness of it from the top of the frame, and I glue that in place basically one width away. And I basically just go ahead and I do that the whole way down. So I'll put one up and I'll mark it with my pencil, and then I'll glue that one in place. And yeah, this took a bit. This is not something I did all at once. I put like 20 of these up, and I think I made another batch of these, or let paint dry on these while I was painting the other ones. And yeah, this was a slow process. I just kept it up, just kept working on it until it was done. I think even the rest of the wall was done before I finished gluing these up there. So yeah. Again, I'm using that same super glue, the same hot glue you've seen me use before. It's that Gorilla Glue. I've used that a lot on this project, and yeah, it really works well. Obviously, it's Gorilla, so you expect it to work. But yeah, so now I can kind of go through here, and I can start painting the door. Yeah, so let's see. This is a little technique sometimes. You see me just holding the can lid. I'm just using the can lid with the paint on it to paint the door. And I can get all the edges and everything in. I also went through here and I marked the wall where the dark gray stripe needs to be. And I went through and I marked that on the door too. So I'm just matching that all the way around. But for the dark paint, this is some gray that I used up in my office. And I'm adding some black and some white. So I'm basically making a custom paint for the stripe. And that can be kind of dangerous just because if you run out or if you need to touch stuff up and you're out of paint, that kind of is too bad. But I try to make up enough of this so I could have it on hand. And I also need a stripe all the way around the room. So just from this little bit here, basically I have like one more wall that needs to be painted, and that was I had enough, so that worked out pretty good. I'm just using this little foam roller. It works really good for this kind of stuff. It gives you a nice clean roll. It doesn't leave a whole lot of like streaks or bumps from like the actual like furry rollers. I forget what they're called. But yeah, then I can I put painter's tape up on the stripe itself all the way around the room, and even some on the orange pad, so I could go through with a paintbrush and paint in between the pads. And yeah, so I just did this all the way around the room. You guys aren't seeing it, but also, you know, while I was doing this, I obviously was working on the other wall that you guys haven't seen yet. But yeah, make sure that I'm not just doing this step here so you guys can see it. I'm working on a chunk of the room all at the same time so that everything can kind of be done at the same time. And you know, you don't want to wash your roller and then like a week later, you know, paint like another stripe on the wall. So I do it all at once and kind of like work that way just so it looks to you guys like this is just all I'm working on, but yeah, I'm working on a lot of other stuff at the same time too. You get the most out of your time that way. So for the light panel, I'm using these Christmas lights. I still have a bunch of these Christmas lights left over. What I do is I cut the green plastic off first. These are they're wrapped so that when you know, they're all separated and tied together. So this green plastic, you can just slice that off. And then these wires here, I just kind of snip off so that I have just a plain LED. Then I can solder these together, add a little bit of wire. So I get that LED wired red and black, and then I go through with a little bit of shrink tubing and just kind of use the edge of the solder iron to heat up that shrink tube and shrink it in place. Just trying to do that just so nothing touches and you don't break the circuit. This is some thick plastic I had. I cut out 2 squares and I spray painted one blue and one red. I painted them from the back so that they look clear. And then you can go ahead and drill. I drilled holes through this panel and through the back of the door, and put those into one outlet. So here is the blue square. I think I did a lighting test, and I didn't like it with the paint on the inside, so I switched it so the paint is on the outside. So now we can do a quick test, make sure all these lights are working. And obviously on camera they look a lot more bright and like really sharp edges, but they don't look like that in person. They're kind of far enough away back from the plastic where they kind of glow the whole square, not just like the circle in the middle. So this is how stuff looks on camera. Alright, so here is the door all finished, mostly finished. I would say it's probably like 90% finished. There's still going to be a couple of things on this wall, and it needs more like just some more like greebles and that kind of stuff. But other than that, I'm happy with the door frame and the side detail, and obviously the lights in the control panel. That's all like pretty cool. I like the two-part color scheme that I went with, and kind of followed that through all the way around the room, and you'll see the other side at some point. But yeah, so the other thing that I wanted to show you quick is that, so since this is my shop door, and I was telling you like I always hit my head on this beam up here, the inside of this door frame being this like caution tape is like really cool to me. I really enjoy that. I think that's a really cool like touch. And the other thing too is that on the back side of the shop door, since I needed a place to store the power, the battery pack, and the switch for this control panel, I decided to paint the inside of the shop door. So here's the inside of the shop door. This is based on the Enterprise door, but it's the Enterprise door from Mirror, so it's the Mirror universe. So it's not completely done. I'm still kind of working on it a little bit here and there. But yeah, so this is the authorized personnel panel, and this is literally where I keep my battery pack and the switch for the lights on the other side. This is just hot glued in place, so I can just pop this off and plug the battery in to recharge it. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. It allowed me to do some cool Star Trek stuff from the NX-01 that I really like. So yeah, there you go. That is the update on the door and the rest of this part of the wall, the shop wall.